Hey everybody, welcome back to DeHaven Family Farm. Thanks for joining me here. Today's video, we're going to start doing some of the ditch clearing that we need to do. We're going to start doing some grading. We got the Mini here behind me. So let me turn you around and show you what we're going to get into today. So in a previous video showing stuff, this was one of the ditches here. You can see all these little trees that have grown up. So we got to yank all those trees out of there, and then we got to regrade the bottom of the ditch. And on this side, there's a few little scrub bushes in there, not a big deal, but we do need to get the ditch cleaned out and get it flowing again. So that's one of the things we're going to work on. While we're doing that, in conjunction with that, we're going to be doing some grading here, and I'm going to see if I can show you guys here. I kind of parked the machine right in the way, but let's see if we can come over here and kind of show you the difference in height. So what has happened over the course of time here, I know it's going to be hard to see on camera. This was a field that we had plowed in a previous video, but this little field here we've kept it by itself because it has some wet spots in it. It needs some new drain tile in it, and there's not time or money in the budget this year to do that. So what we're going to work on is some grading to help control water surface flow. It's not going to stop like the underground springs from obviously percolating, but if we can keep the surface water moving and off the field, it should help this year. This is going into hay. So what we need to do here, if you can kind of notice, as we come across, the ground almost goes up some before it goes down to the ditch over there. So not only are we going to clean the ditch out, but we're going to take the machine and we're going to dig some of this material out, and we're going to start making a big windrow of soil that we're going to move with the skid steer later. And what we're going to do is take this material here, and we're going to go over, and there's a low spot over there and a little bit of a low spot there. Same thing all in through here. It's the same thing. So again, I know it's very difficult to see on camera, but the field slopes down, and then boom, it hits this little hump here. So obviously the water, surface water, really can't get out there to the ditch. Now years ago we had it graded where the surface water could get where it needed to go. However, geez, that was maybe 10 years ago, and we had filled in, there was a lot of low spots in here, and we filled them in. So over the course of that time, those low spots have settled some. So I think that's kind of why we're seeing some of this. So we're going to do the same thing along this whole edge here. We're going to clean the ditch out, and then we're going to drop elevation here so that there's a steeper angle going from the ditch up to the field, and not kind of a hump, a berm here that's stopping the surface water. So that's what we're going to work on today in this video. Let's get cleaning this up and see what kind of a mess we can make. So the first thing we're going to do here before we clean the ditch out is we're just going to rip out these little trees, and we'll pile them up and we'll take care of them. We'll kind of take them with us here as we go, but we'll kind of keep those a little bit separate from the other fill material. Some little stuff won't matter, but we'll pile them up and we'll haul them away and take care of them later. They get really thick right here. These are kind of a willow tree that's growing, that always grows in wet areas. So that means the ditches work. You know, they do catch the water, but they're full now, so they don't flow and the water kind of sits. Got a good clump right here. Big clump. Holy crap, look at that. All right, making my way down here, getting the ditch cleaned out. Everything I'm doing here today, there's rain coming tonight, I believe. So what I'm doing today is just kind of some rough digging, not doing any finish work, just trying to get stuff opened up, piled up, and so the water can flow before it rains. And then when we come back to move all these piles, we'll do all the finished grading work. So I'm just taking the first round out, cleaning the ditch out, and taking a little bit of the bank, and then we're going to go back through on our second pass, and we're going to grade the bank even more. But we got to get this done first. So that's what we're doing here. There is water sitting in the ditch in a couple spots, so that's good. That's where the water's supposed to be. All right, we got the ditch cleaned out, first cut made there. We're only part way, that's not even halfway. There's a crossing here, and then the rest of the ditch goes on way down that way. We're gonna work on that second. So now we're gonna start the second pass up here. And I'm thinking I might actually have to do 3 passes, 3 different little cuts across here instead of just 2. So we'll have to try it and see what happens. The end of the second pass here, we're going to make one more little pass. There's just a little chunk in here that I'm going to pull back up against this windrow of stuff, and then that'll be good for the rough grade, and then we can finish grade it later, but that'll be everything dug up. So go through and we'll do that. All right, so maybe you guys are starting to see what we got going on here. There is a hump right here because there is one of the old drain tiles that comes out into the ditch, and I don't want to disturb that too much, so I just kind of left a hump here for now. But I think you can kind of see what we accomplished here. We got a nice grade going down into the ditch. We took off the hump that was here, and again, this is just a rough grade right now, but it looks pretty decent. We have our nice windrow material there. We got this side, same thing, got a nice slope coming down. So I think this is going to work nicely. Obviously, like I said, more cleanup work to do, but you can see some of the water that's in the ditch already. So it does its job, but it needs to be cleaned out to do an effective job. So we are going to have kind of a flat spot here, obviously, because this is where one of our crossings is. So there's not much I can do about grading right in through here. I kind of want to leave that flat just for the sake of the crossing. So we have all this material here now that we can take up to one of the low spots. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to work on this big long section here, getting the ditch cleaned out. And it does need a little bit of grading here. I don't know if they'll end up being quite as much material as over there, but it is like 3 times longer going this way than it was that little section. So we'll still end up with a decent amount of material. So I'm going to get started with this. I do have to watch. There are pipes that come out. There's one right there. I think there's 2 other ones that come out into this ditch too, so I got to try not to hit those. All right, just working on this ditch here. This one we had put some gravel in originally when we finished it. And I'm finding some of the gravel here. It's under roughly 6 inches of muck. This one I'm kind of taking my time with a little bit more. The other one was a little bit easier to just kind of quick grade out. This one, given the location and everything, is a little more difficult. Well, not difficult, but it's got a lot more water in it, and I can't just run up and down with the blade after. It'll make a muddy mess everywhere, so I got to try and finish it a bit as we go. What I really need, and it's on my would like to buy list, is a 36-inch grading bucket, which you can use for ditching. You know, they don't have any teeth on them, so you can kind of make a nice smooth pass in one shot. I'm having to dig my crap out here and then go back with the bucket and kind of smooth the bottom out. It's getting the job done though, just taking a little longer. I don't know. All right guys, done the best I can do here today. This got muddy. We do have a slope going down here. Obviously, again, rough grade, needs to be dressed up. Need to get all this material out of here, but we'll take a walk down and I'll show you. You know, we got water somewhat flowing in here. Again, this was not smooth perfectly. I was just trying to get it roughly cleaned out here today. And I think there was there 3 or 4 pipes that came out? I still can't remember. So there's one here that I need to cut the end of it off there and get it cleaned up. We still have a little bit of gravel and stuff in here, so some of the water can flow through the gravel. One good rain will kind of get things washed out anyway. There's a couple of spots where the ground gets really stony here, like a lot of kind of river rock, and that's difficult to dig and grade because it's mostly rock. Here's another one that comes out, and you can start to see a lot more water down here. Like this is actually flowing here now. And yep, here's one more here. Again, I need to kind of get that cleaned up. But around these pipes, there's a bunch of gravel that goes up. So even if the end of the pipe is kind of crushed, the water can flow out through the gravel. But again, it's on the to-do list. So we come down through here, got a good flow of water all the way down. And you can see here more kind of river rock stuff here. Not a lot of soil right here on this mound. Walking through a bunch of weeds, so it's making its way down here. This is all downhill. I didn't clean this out as perfectly as I could have down here, because there is a pipe and I did bump the end of it. So I'll have to clean this out with the shovel. But there's a pipe that takes this water under the field and over and around over there. And I didn't want to get this too cleaned out to get the water flowing too fast. So if we get a rain, I don't want it to wash a bunch of sediment down here and plug this pipe up. So I kind of left it rough so that the water would go a little bit slower. You know, really need some bigger rocks down in here to kind of filter things, and we can get to that. But you can kind of see our pile here. This was a little bit more difficult right here because it's not graded right on the other side. That was one thing I dug out. This is hayfield here. Up there it's, you know, tilled up, plowed up. So I didn't want this pile of crap into that hayfield, so it was a little harder to work here. But overall, I think we accomplished what we were going to accomplish here today. We got this section of ditch all opened up. We got our rough grade going, and we'll be able to work on the next phase of this, which will be moving all this material to some low spots and doing a little bit more grading in the field. I'm curious to see, now that I see all this water flowing, that I got all this muck cleaned out of the ditch, that how well the field dries out. You know, maybe, you know, I said earlier that I think it needs new drain tile, and it still might, but cleaning this out may have gone a long way to getting the existing drain tile kind of working again. I really didn't realize how bad this ditch had filled in, silted in over the years. So, but there we go, there's a mess. Somebody want to come and help me shovel this machine off, because that's not going to be much fun. Oh, I'll have to bring a shovel here too. That culvert pipe's full of water down there. I'll have to bring a shovel and get that cleaned out. But this side here, you know, that turned out so nice because it wasn't really so wet over there. I was able to grade that real nice and get closer to a finished grade there, where this side is just kind of mud. So anyway, I thank everybody for following along with me here today. I appreciate it. Something a little bit different, getting the excavator going, doing some farm projects. Hope you enjoyed it. Questions, comments down below. I appreciate you watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe, the bell icon, and the thumbs up on your way out the door. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you all in the next video.